I don't know why nobody's talking about this, but here I am. I'm going to break this down for you guys because here's the thing. Bitcoin dropped down by quite a bit, but we've been holding this sideways level for a little bit while the news and everything in the space just keeps seeming to get worse every single day. There's a lot that I'm going to cover with you guys, but most of the beginning of this video is just going to be cold, hard facts. Now, I know that that doesn't agree with a lot of people. This is really going to be confusing for a lot of people and hard to digest. If that's you, get the fuck off the YouTube channel because this place isn't for you. We're just going to be discussing these cold hard facts before I start bringing my opinions into this. And the other thing that we're going to be doing, guys, is also looking at the flip side, because while I do, in this case, somewhat have a bias, I am also quite well aware that my job as an analyst and trader here is to remain completely unbiased for as long as possible, right up until the moment that I enter a trade, and at that point I have to be 100% biased. Okay, so I've talked about this before. Those of you that are subscribed are going to know all about this. And here's the thing, guys. So if we take a look at the dollar, we're seeing quite a big drop for the dollar right here, and this is kind of the good and the bad news, right? Is that the dollar is dropping down by quite a bit, and you guys knew that this was coming if you've been watching me. I mean, we were talking about this when the dollar was all the way up here at 112. We're now down at 106. I mean, huge drop for the dollar. I can't even begin to explain how much of a big deal this is, considering this is the US dollar right here. And we've seen a massive breakdown. I mean, this is exactly what we were predicting on the YouTube channel. And that's the good news. The good news also continues because I think, we don't really have any support for the dollar until it drops down by, a fair bit more, kind of into the support range. So even more of a drop. And why is this good? Because generally when the dollar is dropping, we tend to see markets such as Bitcoin and indices rallying up, which is the second thing that we were totally just calling on this YouTube channel so clearly. You guys already know the deal. I was saying to you that resistance here at first would make a lot of sense, but if we get a pullback, breaking it on the second attempt would be way more likely. And bam, look at that. We're already well on our way to my second target up here, which is going to be this 4100 area. Beyond that, I'm looking at this resistance at 4300 right here. All of these levels have been outlined. I've given you guys this analysis for weeks and months back, so we're well aware about that. Shout out to those of you that are showing all your support. Thank you all so much. I know it's just a little thing to you when you hit that like button, or make sure that you got the bell icon checked and stuff like that, but it really is so nice for me to see. So thank you all very much. That's kind of the good news. And I guess the thing is like I said, the dollar's got a little bit more to drop down, and generally, yeah, that will mean that risk on markets can rise up a little bit, but we're not really seeing that reflected with Bitcoin. That's kind of the bad news. But here's the thing. I think there's still some really nice upside to go for the S&P 500 right here, which definitely is quite exciting for me. But the fact that that hasn't really affected Bitcoin yet isn't great, right? I mean, Bitcoin, in an environment which generally should be quite bullish, isn't really responding particularly well to it, but we're not dropping either. Although, like I said, the key thing to keep in mind now is that the dollar is, we've known this for a while. The dollar's kind of been in a confirmed downtrend as far as I'm concerned since it started to be a potential up here, and it was confirmed down here, and then I said that, kind of no matter what happens, even if the dollar rallies up, we're unless we break this high, we're going to be in a downtrend here. So that was confirmed for us, basically 2-3 weeks ago now, about 3 weeks ago, that we've known this, and we started speculating on it a whole month ago. We were very early on this YouTube channel, so bam, that was absolutely beautiful. Still more of a drop to go. So again, generally something bullish for Bitcoin. We're going to get back to this in a little bit. But also, guys, just the fact that everybody is so scared in crypto right now. I mean, if we refresh this, take a look at the fear and greed index, I am surprised that we're not lower than this, but we're still looking at extreme fear readings in this market. Everybody and their grandmother is extremely bearish on this market right now. If I had, half a fucking, if I had 10 Satoshis, all right, if I had 1 Satoshi for every time somebody said that this is going to be a long drawn out bear market, a long drawn out crypto winter where we're not going to see anything interesting happening for years, or at least 1 year singular, yeah, I'd have a whole Bitcoin by now, legends. If I had 1 Satoshi for every time I heard that. If you don't know what a Satoshi is, it's basically that, I think, of 1 Bitcoin. So I've heard this a lot in the space. Nobody can acknowledge the ideas that Bitcoin might rally up. And I understand why, because again, from a technical perspective, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that Bitcoin can bounce up. And, I mean, bottom line, if we do rise up, what I was saying in yesterday's live stream that I did with Max was, if we do rise a little bit higher, we could very well get a rejection here, set a new higher low rejection, and so on as we trade into that $20,000 range. And then that would probably form, quite a bearish pattern that, generally, a little bit of an ascending channel within a downtrend that's generally going to drop to the downside, right? We've seen this play out a million times. It's actually quite typical for Bitcoin. It even happened right here. I mean, we were trading in, somewhat of a kind of rising, a channel right here, and then eventually this broke down and bam, the market dropped, right? So these patterns, they show up all the time for Bitcoin, and so I can understand why, people are really struggling to see that Bitcoin might move up. But again, when it's just this constant sentiment of we need 14K, we need 8K, we need a $5,000 Bitcoin, whatever. I mean, all these price predictions that are coming out, there's absolutely nobody talking about the potential for a bear market rally at a time where, like I said, we're looking good as far as the dollar dropping down. Indices are going up quite nicely right now. This is all happening off the back of the inflation news, showing us that the dollar is potentially going to lose a little bit of its strong hold across the world. I mean, you guys remember when the pound basically flipped? Did the pound actually flip? I think it might have flipped, right? Oh, it didn't quite flip. It went down to $1.03 per pound. I mean, everybody was so bearish on the pound down here. I mean, those of you that are in Britain, you're going to remember this. Or like what happened to the euro. I mean, the euro did drop by quite a bit. It fell down to 95 cents. But everybody was so bearish at these points. Everyone's so fucking bearish at the bottom, guys. I mean, it's the most obvious thing ever. We've spoken about it a million times. And, this is actually a chart that I showed on the live stream yesterday, which I think would just make so much sense, if we saw something like this. I'm not going to talk too much about this because this is just so out there. I have absolutely no basis for showing you this chart. There's no technical reason that I took this, and if you're wondering where I got this from, it's literally just this move right here. I brought it onto the chart here just to show you like a potential future for Bitcoin if we follow this parallel universe or whatever, what the Bitcoin price action might look like, just to show you like, look, this wouldn't be completely out there. We'd still be in a bear market. We'd still be setting lower highs, and it absolutely wouldn't be the first time that we've done something like this either, right? I just think that's an interesting thing to talk about and something to look at. And right now, guys, people are way too scared to even acknowledge an idea like this, which, guys, I think in itself is such a strong thing to be paying attention to at this point in the market, right? People really can't acknowledge these kind of things at the moment. There's also this Glassnode chart, which thank God I'm logged in. There's also this Glassnode chart, which, again, we're just talking about facts right now, guys. I'm not trying to bring opinions into this. Literally just want to look at data like this, which is, in this case, the 30-day change of supply held in exchange wallets. So this means how much supply of assets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, just basically crypto coins, seeing how much of those are moving in and out of exchanges, right? And what you'll generally see is when the market is rallying up, people are taking their money off exchanges, right? So if we take a look at this rally right here, black line meaning the price, let's get this a little bit clearer. I'm sorry, I'm messing this up. One sec. Yeah, this is more what I want to focus your attention on. We can see when the price is skyrocketing, these red histograms right here, they mean that, a lot of money is being moved off exchanges. And then again, when we're rallying up really hard over here, basically between the prices of $10,000 all the way up to kind of 20,000, and then really, I mean, it stays majority red right up until $50,000, $60,000 up here. Money's just constantly being moved off exchanges, right? So people are moving their money off exchanges when they don't plan on selling. Generally, that's what this means. I mean, we don't know that for a fact, but come on, let's be honest. We can infer that. I think that's a pretty healthy conclusion to draw from this kind of data. And then on the flip side, when the price starts to drop, this is way too zoomed in. When the price starts to drop, we see a lot of money entering exchanges, but it's not like at the beginning of the drop. It's usually when the drop is most intense. Look at this. This is where the histogram peaks right here, literally at a temporary bottom. This is what we're seeing, where people are moving their money onto exchanges in droves, just absolutely flooding exchanges with their money. So again, this 30-day histogram supply change a change of supply held in wallets of exchanges, showing us that money is being moved onto exchanges when the price is crashing because people want to liquidate. Guys, take a look at what's going on right now. Look at how much money is moving off exchanges. So much money is moving off exchanges. And guys, look, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work this out. If Bitcoins, cryptocurrency tokens, coins, whatever, are not on exchanges, how are you going to sell them, mate? You know, if they're not on an exchange, how are you going to sell? You're going to go OTC? You think that's what everybody here is doing? They're trading OTC? Absolutely not. People are moving their money off exchanges, and to me, that's an indication of two things. Number one, the very obvious thing is people are scared. People don't think that exchanges can actually let them withdraw their money. Fair enough. You should be worried about that. I've always been worried about that. I've told you guys to never keep too much money on exchanges going way back many, many years. I've been saying that on this YouTube channel. And number two, if you're willing to take your money off exchanges, that to me also means that you're not planning on selling your coins. And so, I think this is a really, really big deal. We've seen a lot of money moving off exchanges. Yes, we've seen money moving off exchanges up here and down here as well when we were trading at $20,000. So you could say that this doesn't mean much. And I'd understand why you would say that. But bottom line, guys, a lot of money is moving off exchanges. We can actually see this if we just kind of look at exchange balance right here. Big drop down right here for exchange balance. It's dropped down from 2.43 million BTC coins all the way down to Bitcoins, even why am I saying BTC coins, to 2.3 million, which is about 100,000 Bitcoins that have been moved off exchanges, quite a substantial amount. And if you look at how steep this drop is, I mean, we don't generally get such steep drops of supply going off exchanges as well. Again, to me, just another fact that I want to point out, right? I mean, obviously this can be undone very quickly. I mean, it takes, how many minutes to send your Bitcoin back to an exchange, right? Bitcoin transactions are very fast, which is exactly why, when I'm telling you guys about these very cool offers that Bybit and BitGet are offering you, right? $30,000 on Bybit up for grabs as a deposit bonus. Absolutely fucking crazy. And BitGet also offering you guys a very easy bonus where you can get $400 basically easier than any other exchange is offering with this bonus right here. Again, that's free money that you can trade with. One of the reasons this is so cool is you get it really quick, right? It doesn't take long for you to get these bonuses because Bitcoin transactions are pretty damn quick these days. And so this can be undone very, very quickly. By the way, if you're interested in either of these two offers with BitGet, by the way, not requiring a VPN or KYC, links are down below. But the thing is, with this chart, we are looking at something where this can be undone very quickly. I mean, a bunch of people can just decide to send their Bitcoin to exchanges and sell their Bitcoin into USDT or, liquidate it right back into their bank accounts or whatever. And that would absolutely, that can happen at any point. But bottom line, this is some really interesting on-chain data. This analysis is called on-chain analysis. And it's something that we like to, mix in with this YouTube channel. So if it is something that you find useful and appreciate, please do me a favor and show that to me by engaging with this video a little bit for the YouTube algorithm. Let's take a look at this withdrawing addresses. Absolutely spiking up. Let's see if people are making deposits as well. Not really, a little bit, and then kind of dropping down. It looks kind of normal, but a lot of withdrawing addresses as well. So again, whale deposits. This is interesting. Whale deposits shot up briefly and are dropping back down. I haven't actually looked at this data. I'm doing some live analysis with you guys right now. So they shot up during the crash and they've dropped back down now. So that's also interesting. Let's see what whale withdrawals are looking like. Similar picture, not really telling us a whole lot. But again, just kind of sticking to this theme of only talking about facts for the first portion of this video. The fact that the dollar is rallying up, guys, the fact that the dollar is dropping, the fact that indices are rallying up really nicely, and I don't necessarily think that has to stop anytime soon. The fact that people are really scared, price is holding up so far. This is something else that we didn't talk about very much other than at the very beginning of this video. If we look at what's going on with the price of Bitcoin, and we zoom in a little bit to say the 4-hour time frame, we're not doing too badly. I mean, there's bad news coming out every day. I'm not going to recap it for you guys, and you don't even need to be aware of this. But there is bad news coming out every day, and Bitcoin's holding more or less the same level. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to break down. Obviously not. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that these are some facts that people just aren't even thinking about. The other thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is if we do look at this on the weekly time frame and just kind of zoom out, look at it on the linear chart, or the logarithmic chart. I'll get to the logarithmic chart in a minute. Just a normal Bitcoin price chart right here. If you just imagine that you didn't know what happened to trigger this red weekly candle right here, this orange weekly candle, if you don't know about any of the FTX drama, let's say you didn't have an internet connection, you just logged in right now. guys, this wouldn't look too crazy. I mean, if you look at the whole context of this chart, I think candles like this, candles like this, candles like these two right here, these would be like this one right here, these would be way scarier than what's happened right here. I mean, end of the day, guys, we've been in a downtrend. We've had a few reaction rallies. We've had a pattern of, lower highs, which we were talking about on this channel. So again, I mean, those of you that have been watching, this is, a lot of this is, not going to be too mind-blowing for you at all. We didn't really have a particularly confusing setup right here. And then, we just kind of consolidated at the low. We made another push. It didn't work out. The reasons for it obviously are the FTX drama. I think if the FTX drama didn't happen, we would be way higher right now, like 25K, 28K, whatever. And of course, I think that idea is supported by looking at things like indices rallying up really hard, right? I mean, it's a good day to be in the stock markets. It's been a few good days to be in the stock markets, actually. And, I think that says a lot. But if we do just look at this chart anyway, guys, I mean, it's really not that bad. I mean, fuck, like I'm not even trying to be like, one of them YouTube bulls that's always just kind of talking shit, but like, level with me here. Like, if you were sat across from me, and I was showing you this in person, like, what argument can you possibly give me that this isn't actually that bad overall? I mean, the only bad thing I'm seeing here is that we lost 20K as support, which is very bad. That's really not very nice at all. But I mean, guys, really, other than that, does this look that bad? And you could say, well, I mean, you have to take this into account with the percentage moves. Well, if we take a look at this on the logarithmic chart, which puts every bit of price action into perspective, this still isn't as crazy as some of the, okay, this candle isn't too bad, but this still isn't as crazy as some of the other dumps that we've seen just in the last year and a half. I'm just laying out the facts, ladies and gents. I mean, this might upset a bunch of you. Hopefully you're not on this video if you're one of the people that can get upset by these kind of just normal facts, guys. Really nothing crazy that I'm saying here. And I think that that's something important to keep in mind. If somehow, and it's unlikely to happen, but if somehow the market is able to recover back up from here, this becomes a deviation and the market can keep going up. Shout out to 𝗪𝗙𝗪 on Twitter. But this is something I was talking about as well. This could very well become a deviation and the market can kind of look to rally a little bit higher, a lot like that, fractal that I played out for you guys, looking at this price action and, just bringing what happened here up to over here. That could very well turn out to be what we see, especially if these markets, S&P 500 and dollar, keep doing what they're doing. This is a bullish environment for risk on assets, right? If indices are rising up, what's going to happen is you're looking at, your relatively safe environments making people money. When you make money, you start feeling greedy. When you feel greedy, you start wanting more money. And the way you get more money is by going into risky markets, right? We know the drill. This is very obvious, right? When Bitcoin pumps, everybody's enjoying the Bitcoin sunshine. Then money moves into Ethereum. Ethereum pumps, everyone enjoys the Ethereum sunshine. Then money moves into the shit coins. They pump, and then money starts moving into NFTs, and the IQ levels just gradually drop and drop and drop as people keep looking at more desperate ways to make money in the markets. But S&P 500 rallying, potentially leading into Bitcoin. Here's something that I think people aren't even considering yet, is that people forget stuff. All right. If you look at the drama that took place with Celsius, with Luna, and so on earlier this year, like, how long did it take for this to, like, other than the people that were actually affected, which were very large in numbers, the market kind of ate that up and forgot about it fairly quickly. I've heard timeframes like 1 week, even, like, very, very quick. And obviously this is worse than those things that happened earlier this year. This is obviously a really, really big blow up, but people still move on. And I actually wrote a tweet about this. I put this on Twitter. My socials are linked down below, my Instagram and my Twitter. This tweet from Zero Hedge right here, quoting JP Morgan. They're saying, while the news of the FTX collapse is empowering crypto skeptics, we would point out, this is JP Morgan saying this, we would point out that all of the recent collapses in the crypto ecosystem have been from centralized players and not from decentralized protocols. Guys, this is not a Bitcoin problem. The FTX crash is a centralization problem. I've been saying this all the time lately. What happened in this market has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't get 1% weaker during all of this shit. In fact, Bitcoin gets stronger every single day. And so this has nothing to do with Bitcoin. This is just an irrational market being scared. And what do you expect? We're in crypto. Of course, crypto is going to be an irrational market that gets upset by small things, like a teenager just being a little bit moody and so on and so forth. But this too shall pass. I've said this already, guys. I've been tweeting about this. I've been on it a little bit, just talking about what's going on, guys. And here's the thing, right? Everyone is scared shitless. Market's only down a few $1,000s. Really, it's not, guys. It's really just $5,000. I get it. It's a drop, and it's a fairly, but it's still just a few $1,000s. Dollar is dropping. Indices are rallying. Eventually, this too shall pass. I'm finding it hard, guys. I'm finding it hard to see the other perspective right here. I know that there's very, very good reason to be bearish, and I'm not saying that I'm going long on Bitcoin right now. I'm not even short on Bitcoin. I'm not in a position. There's no need to be in a position all the time. There's still a lot of bad shit. There's still a lot of stuff that could go really quite horribly wrong. But at the same time, guys, these facts, I think they are a little bit hard to ignore. Now, the bad news is that we are in, like I said, a fairly bullish environment given what's going on with the dollar, in my opinion, and that isn't affecting Bitcoin. So it could just be that the reason Bitcoin hasn't dropped yet is because whatever is going on with the dollar is simply propping Bitcoin up. And, what does get concerning is that, as you guys hear me saying all the time, things don't drop in a straight line forever. They don't go up in a straight line forever. So eventually I'm going to have to expect, something of a bounce with the dollar, and depending on where it happens, especially if it happens at our big support areas like this green box that I've drawn for you guys, just to put this in perspective, this is where the green box is. It stretches back, with quite a bit of significance over the decades. If we draw this back, I mean, there's quite a bit going on around this level, right back into the 70s even. Definitely an important level on this dollar index, right? So if we get a bounce off a level like this and Bitcoin still hasn't been able to rally up, that's where things could get really bad, in my opinion, because if you do look at where Bitcoin is right now, right? I mean, if let's say the FTX drama didn't happen, S&P 500 is already at 4,000. I think it's very fair to say, I mean, maybe it's a little bit out there for some people, but I think it's very fair to say that if this stuff didn't end up going south, we could definitely be at about $25,000. That would be a good level to see a pullback, perhaps down to like 20,000 or something like that, a fairly large pullback, and then we can start moving up again, continuing to set higher highs and higher lows as well, which would be absolutely fantastic on a higher time frame. Would definitely line up with what's going on with the dollar. If we did end up seeing this kind of bounce off the green box right here, I think it would just make so much sense that at that point Bitcoin can start to get a little bit of pain, before potentially continuing on upwards, right? It could look something a little bit like this. Dollar captures some resistance up at 110, drops down. Very, very standard kind of movements right here. And that would be great if Bitcoin started off from a position of strength. But it's not in a position of strength right now. Obviously, Bitcoin is in a pretty weak position overall. I'm not denying that, and I hope that that's not the impression I've given off here. I know that's not the impression I've given off, but some people might draw that conclusion anyway. And that's the thing to keep in mind is that, the dollar is dropping right now, but, when you've pressed the red button enough, you gotta start thinking about pressing the green button too. And that's where these things could start going pretty bad for Bitcoin, I think, purely because, if Bitcoin is going to be in a position that's already weak and then the dollar starts to rally up, which generally is what weakens the markets anyway. And I don't really need to talk about this very much. The evidence for this inverse correlation between the dollar and, indices and Bitcoin and so on is so clear. Obviously, Bitcoin has decoupled now because of this, kind of, how do I say, like these issues at home, basically. There's drama in the house, and so Bitcoin's, suffering a little bit. But again, like I said, this is probably going to pass. Everything like this does pass. I mean, it's human emotion at the end of the day. Time goes on. These wounds heal. I know it's not necessarily going to take a super short amount of time, but bottom line, I mean, to think that we can't have a bear market rally is just ridiculous to me. I mean, it just makes so much sense. I do want to acknowledge that the downside again, though. It's just that everybody keeps talking about it. For me, that's just so uncomfortable. I mean, I can't find a single person, maybe like one or two that I know out of how many, I have no idea. So many people, only like one or two talking about, these kind of more bullish perspectives for Bitcoin. Just nobody can digest these ideas. And you guys know me. I say this all the time. If I get behind the microphone and I'm talking to however many, like 130,000 of you guys, and I'm just in agreement with you, like, do you think that's what I want? Like, I don't. Okay, you guys are different, but broadly speaking, like with the community on Twitter, YouTube, and so on, I'm not looking to be in agreement with you guys, right? I mean, I've said this before, 90% of traders lose their money. And if I'm getting behind the microphone and I'm making videos that everyone's jacking themselves off to because I'm agreeing with them and they're agreeing with me, that's not the place I want to be. That's telling me that I'm going to lose money. Now, I know that the other shit-munching YouTubers out there that are just feeding you exactly what you want to hear, like they're going to do that. It's fucking good for business. My God, you make a lot of money when you do stuff like that. But ultimately, it's not correct analysis. It generally turns out to be wrong because they're just siding with the masses, and that's not what I'm doing right here. I'm looking for reasons to be on the other side. Am I positioning myself that way? No, but I'm looking for reasons to at least acknowledge the other side of this thing. By the way, I also just want to point out that Edward Snowden, I don't want to read too much into this, but where is it? It's let's just search for him. He put out an interesting tweet today. I know everybody just kind of stops and listens to him when he talks. He says, there's still a lot of trouble ahead, but for the first time in a while, I'm starting to feel the itch to scale back in. And the last time he said something like this was the coronavirus market crash of 2020. This is the first time in a while that I felt like buying Bitcoin. That drop was too much panic and too little reason. Guys, what I've said earlier in this video is that this is not a Bitcoin problem. This is an FTX, a centralization problem, not a Bitcoin problem. Why is Bitcoin dropping, right? Is it because people are losing confidence in the crypto space? Okay, fair enough. It's not Bitcoin though, right? These problems are centralization problems, not decentralization problems. And crucially, Bitcoin is decentralization. FTX is centralization. Anything centralized, will have these vulnerabilities. Anything decentralized, generally, if it's done right, like Bitcoin, won't. So I think Edward Snowden is onto something here. He's saying here what I've been saying just in this video. He's saying it again today as well. This is where I stop and start paying attention. Anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the downside. It's still 14K. I mean, this is still an empty range. Look, I'm not blindfolding, but I'm not blindfolding myself and just completely forgetting how to do technical analysis, right? From a technical analyst's perspective, which is what I am first and foremost. From a TA perspective, this should drop down to kind of 14, 10, 11K, whatever. I mean, there's a big kind of support range right here. Let's actually just illustrate this with a box so that there's no ambiguity about this. I think kind of down to like 11.6 I've been saying, for those of you that have been subscribed for a while. Now that we're kind of dropping down, obviously we talk about these levels on a need to know basis, right? I mean, previously I was just kind of saying 10 to 11K, but now that it's potentially closer, I'm going to zoom in and refine the price levels I was talking about, because now it's more relevant to talk about them. And so this just kind of general green box that, in this case, yeah, I'm going to say kind of stretches between 11.6 right up to like 13.7, 13.8, something a little bit like that. Definitely, I mean, there's nothing here, right? I mean, we didn't get a chance to build support on the way up. We didn't get a chance to build resistance. We didn't get a chance to build resistance on the way up, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And so naturally, yeah, you have to expect that this can be a quick drop down, and already it is a fairly quick drop down. I mean, yes, we have paused for a couple days, but when we zoom out like this, it doesn't look that big of a deal anyway. So absolutely, again, from a TA perspective, it makes sense to drop down there, and it wouldn't even be particularly bad. This would be a really nice place to get a little bit of a support run. Maybe we come back up to 20K, get a kiss of death. Maybe we break 20K, maybe we get that kiss of death. It doesn't last very long. We come back again. We start to form higher lows. We start to form higher lows, keeping the same high. And then before you know it, we've got an ascending triangle formation. We're kind of condensing, pressure builds to the upside, and bam, we break out. I mean, there's so many ways this can happen, and I just want to make sure that we're staying aware of them, because right now nobody is willing to discuss these kind of things in this market, and I just think that's downright irresponsible and unrealistic, to be quite honest with you guys. So I'm seeing a lot of beautiful trading opportunities here. I mean, this volatility is bringing a whole new spring to this market. If you want to see how I'm going to be trading them, guys, these are the steps on screen to get inside of 𝗤𝗏𝗡's VIP. The first link here that I've highlighted for you in the description, this is going to take you to my free Telegram channel where I'm giving you more analysis from myself and my team around the clock. It's free of charge. It goes straight to your phone. If you're not on Telegram already and you're a trader, I don't even know what you're doing, so go get that fixed. Check this out. Very, very cool indeed, where you can message me as well, and then yeah, you can click on my name and then message me to ask me how to join VIP. Puts you in a direct chat with me, ask me any questions you like and all that good stuff, and get yourself inside. Very, very cool indeed. And guys, while you're down there, guys, definitely check out these offers. Helps out the channel so much. If you found our on-point analysis to be very useful for you guys over these last weeks, months, years, then, you know, just checking these out, getting your bonus helps me out a lot as well. Obviously, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if you do help me, but something that I would appreciate. And bottom line, this is very cool for you. I mean, the fact that you can get $400 so easily off BitGet, I mean, you can YOLO this money into anything you like. I mean, this is your money, right? You deposit anything above $4,000 and then trade a little bit. You don't even have to trade too much, and then you get a $400 bonus. You can roll that into anything you like. I mean, it can be a 100x, you know, stupid gamble, which obviously I think would be a horrible idea, you know, or it can be a more sensible trade, and any profits you make, you're going to get to keep. And with Bybit, this bonus goes way higher, up to $30,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can see some of the requirements over here, you know, and so if this is something that you are interested in taking advantage of, both links are going to be down in the description below. And again, crucially, BitGet, with this easier bonus, this is available anywhere in the world without a VPN and without KYC. They've got great liquidity, and withdrawal limits are very high. They're also going to be starting their proof of reserves thing, I think, with 𝗪𝗪𝗔 as well. Same for Bybit. So this is something I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more in an upcoming video. I just haven't had time to talk about it yet. I've been so busy since I came back to Dubai. But now that I'm here, I'm a little bit more settled down. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more very, very valuable content for you guys. So if you are excited for that, do me a favor and smash those likes up as we're heading out in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Just check that you are subscribed as well. Many of you are watching these videos but not subscribed, and that means you're going to be missing them at a time like this, missing videos like this. If you think these videos are useful, that could cost you a lot of money. It could prevent you from making money. It could make you lose money as well. I don't know, whatever. You know the deal. And of course, you know, hitting that bell icon as well will make sure that you get notified for these videos. YouTube's notification delivery system isn't very good though, so if you do join this free Telegram channel with the link in the description, I also tell you when I'm uploading a video as well. So you're never going to miss anything. You're always going to be right up to date, and you're going to be up to date around the clock. So that's very, very cool. All of this is free, guys. That's a lot of free value, so check it out if it's something that interests you. With that though, hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do, and I'm out. Cheers.